Texas.
Got 6:30. Let's go ahead and call our meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Travis Kramer.
Here.
Scott McCorney.
Here.
Jeremy Hansen.
Here.
Jason Weesey.
Here.
Paul Kraus.
Here. Item 4, consent agenda. All items in the consent agenda considered routine. Was everybody here for the last meeting in minutes? We can all finally vote on this one. Did anybody see anything they wanted to consider separately? Any questions, concerns? They all look good to me.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as presented. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weesey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. That's items A and B, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Item 5, approval of minutes from the September 18th, 2023 budget hearing, tax levy hearing, 1 and 6-year plan hearing, and regular board meeting.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from the September 18th, 2023 budget hearing, tax levy hearing, 1 and 6-year plan hearing, and regular board meeting.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes from the September 18th budget hearing, tax levy hearing, 1 and 6-year plan hearing, and regular board meeting minutes. Let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weesey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item 6, unfinished business. A, discussion and possible approval of collection system cleaning and or camera program. James brought us the bids. We had these in our packet back in June, July. We're not sure, so we've got them separately if someone wants to see them. Basically, it comes down to 2 scopes of service. Do we want to have them clean the sewer and camera as they're doing that? And they're suggesting a 4-year plan that would cover the entire town or our entire sewage system. If we do the cameraing, it's $28,680 a year for 4 years. Increasing to $685 on year 4. If we do just the cleaning without the camera service, it's $10,898 until year 4. Or it goes up, I don't know why it goes up $2, $1.80 after, yeah.
A big difference.
Yeah, I was thinking when we were talking budget numbers that we were only around 20,000, so
I'm
I
thinking
could go either way now with that price.
I think when we were originally talking about it, I thought it was, you could do one or the other,
Mhm.
but it wasn't an or, it was a and. If your camera and they have to clean it before,
Mhm.
so it's an additional price.
Okay,
You can't just choose one or the other. I think that might have been, so that's my fault for miss. I thought it was that way, so.
what do you think? Go ahead, you had a question.
When was the last time that we had them cleaned and have we ever run cameras down?
We have run,
Spots.
we've done some televising in spots and we've done some cleaning in spots. I'm not sure.
When the last time?
I've been here.
I think
for
people
years.
were jamming boats on, we were cleaning up on Oak Ridge. We were cleaning frequently because we had cleaners,
Up there.
and we thought that was probably going to be back up in a low lying house. And I don't know if we treated the tree roots the last time we were in there. I don't think that's been on our watch anymore because they've.
Which.
So right across from Bill's house.
Over, all bells were up around Elkhorn Drive.
Okay. We have had those, let's see, 3 manholes. Be on on Elkhorn Drive. We've had those rehabbed. So I don't know if that has helped. It's gotten rid of the roots that were coming in from the manhole itself. But I haven't had any calls since I've been here.
Yeah.
Already. Any backups in that area?
I wonder for the price if we'd be better off doing the cleanings, and when we have a problem where they can't get through with the cleaning, then maybe we spot camera those. Do you think that's a better idea then? That seems like a lot more money than we were hoping to spend.
Yeah, I think that would be probably the best way to go. It is a hefty raise between the two. So.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can always, if there's problem areas, they're gonna know when they're jetting them, the jetter will slow down or won't go through.
Yeah.
So then we'll know the areas that we need to.
And I'd be surprised if we really needed the camera more than 50% of our sewer system, wouldn't you? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it'd do that.
I don't think we're gonna have problems in 50% of it
I
even.
think there'd be maybe some problems down in the downtown area,
Yeah.
all the newer developments. I don't think there should be problems.
Oh, didn't we have all that? Smoke at some time?
Yeah, I don't know why we haven't done that again. I think that would probably be a good thing to do.
I mean.
We need to make sure everybody gets notified to fill their water traps, but we had one person that apparently missed the notification.
Yeah.
Called the fire department when their house.
But downtown, I think last time we did it, we didn't have, it wasn't terrible.
No, it was, I thought that was a pretty simple, easy process, and it did identify a couple spots that we would have probably never known about.
Maybe that's something.
Maybe we could do the cleaning and try and do some smoking along with it too. I don't.
I think that's something that we can get rural water out here to do, and I don't think they would charge. I don't know. if they-
Isn't it Evan? What's his name?
Mike.
Mike Adara, he's the one who did it.
He had,
Paul and I walked around with him. He'd throw the smoke in the hole and we'd walk up and down the streets and say, oh, there's a hole that we didn't know about. There's a hole we didn't know about.
it's quite interesting how fast that smoke travels because
They got a fan they would put down in there and it blows it through.
and then.
So I think you guys have this stuff.
I'll bet Mike knows about it I don't know if it's still, it was I think it was a homemade tool, but it worked great,
I think that would be a good idea. In addition to the cleaning, just do some smoking.
Well, I'd feel better recommending to the board that we just do the cleaning.
Me too.
As a committee.
Yeah, make that recommendation.
Yep, I'll make them. I would motion to approve the collection system program from Trek in the amount of $43,595.50 for the cleaning of our sewer system.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's any further comment. If not, let's vote on that motion.
Basic Macy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Papa Corney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Washington County Sheriff's contract. Kate said this was a no change.
Yeah, I looked and it was the same we've been paying, so.
77,000 or whatever.
From what I'm reading in the paper and different articles, I think we're very fortunate not to have an increase. They're
Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion to approve the fiscal year 23-24 Washington County Sheriff contract in the sum of 77,000.
that seems like an odd number, odd decimal.
Yeah, the comma's in the wrong spot. Or an extra number got thrown in there. We gotta get some.
77,000.
Yeah, there's 773254.
Do you have any
It'd
different?
be 730,000. Yeah. what's the 640, 6443.76 times
Yeah, cause it's 644.
It's neither
27,325.
25.12, not 4, whatever that is.
The 4 is the extra number.
Approve that for $77,324.04. Further agreement with Washington County.
I'll second that motion.
Do we have any further discussion? If not, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
I think the number. should
Yeah,
have-
something's not right.
The
Hold on.
4 should be dropped probably.
It's 12 cents. 325.12 is the monthly rate, 644,376 times 12.
But it could be the rounding thing. So that's why I think it's just that 4 got stuck
Oh.
in there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So it takes 77,325.10 divided by 12.
Yep, that would be it.
What's your number?
So yeah.
$77,325.
Dollars and 10 cents. No 4.
Does that sound like the motion you want?
That's, wanted to say, yes.
All right. So we have a motion with the corrected price, which we will verify with the sheriff, and a second. Let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen,
There's the
Jason
guy right there.
Lacy.
Sheriff Robinson, I got a quick question for you.
We're having decimal.
Just sit down first.
Nope,
No.
you don't. It's because we're actually voting on your addendum. On the addendum, on the price, we think there's a typo. It says 77,325.54.10. So I think yep, come right here. I'll show it to you.
It seems like we've got one more number in there than we should have decimal points.
I think that 4 is wrong. The 4 should just be gone. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay,
$77,325.
It's the same as last year, so technically we don't have to do an addendum.
Okay,
gotcha.
The original contract says if there is a wage increase, there's not.
okay.
Everything's the same, so we don't have to do the addendum.
Well, we've already made a motion to accept the contract with that corrected number that we just told you about, so.
Yes.
Okay,
And
and Paul Kraus.
aye.
Thank you. Didn't know you were gonna be put on the spot like that today.
Right when you walk in. All right, item C, discussion and possible approval of quotes from Alarm for additional insurance. And that would be liability limits and sewer backup quotes. We've never had sewer backup quotes.
And the liability, so the max is 5 million. I think all of ours are like at 3 million, one's at 4 million. And so they were just recommending that we bump it up to that maximum. But yeah, that was just the recommendation. And then they recommended sewer backup quotes because we've never had that, so.
And the sewer backup quotes would be just in our buildings?
What he sounded like was it was for the town, that if someone wanted to sue us. Yes, that is for the town, so if like,
Okay, so the price for that is $300 or $600 to get that coverage? Is
for the
that-
higher limits, yeah.
Okay, the 15,000 per building is coverage, or 5,000 per building. That's the amount of coverage for
Yeah,
each
with your
each
deductible, yeah.
incident, okay.
Yeah.
John, do you ever remember when we had sewer backups on Oak Ridge Court? Who paid? I thought somebody had a claim.
Homeowners insurance, their homeowners insurance covered that.
Okay,
The only one I do remember is there was one right down here. Is there not one on this for Second Street, James, were you here? For Third Street, right down here, that they dispute their insurance disputed it, and I think that. Don't quote me, but I think somebody paid for something, if it was people service or what it was.
yeah,
Do you remember that, Paul?
I vaguely remember it. Was it on the east or west side of the street?
I don't know where it was, but I know it was down in that area. I mean, we haven't had too many problems, knock on wood.
The only one I can think of is the Oak Ridge. As long as
And I don't remember ever us having to pay anything on that.
Nope, I just remember we sent the cameras, we cleaned and jetted it.
I think we monitored that for several years in a row, and then I think we finally cut the roots and
I
treated
think
them.
I think we treated the roots
Yeah.
on that one.
Dump that chemical in there.
Chemical root, or treated the roots on it.
Well, I think the increasing the liability limits is a good idea. I don't know, what do you guys think about getting sewer backup coverage? I wonder if we can hold off on that one until we find out if People Services has coverage for us.
Sure, that makes sense.
Did they act like they needed this approval right away, or?
No, we met to go over everything for the fiscal year, and so
Okay.
this is kind of just what they're recommending to everyone if they didn't have it, so.
Why don't we find out if we have coverage with People's
Perfect.
now
Okay.
before we make, and then we can. Once we find that out, we can improve one or both or none.
And would this pay for the cost of damages or just if there's a legal suit?
Made it sound like. I don't know. He made it sound like cost of damage, but he also mentioned that like if it were to become a legal issue, that we would be covered, because he said right now you don't have.
Or legal services, it would also, would you check on that
Right,
one?
I will double check that. as
That'd be
well.
good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a fairly low cost, but it's a 50% deductible. That seems a little bit.
Now, do you have to, on something like that, would you have to prove negligence? Like it's the city's fault, or would you, I mean, you know, like a flood, you can't control it if the sewers fill up and they back up.
I think these are good questions we need to ask
I
Lauren.
mean.
okay,
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often that.
No. I can only think of
That goes.
the one you've mentioned and one other since I've been on the board, so. And I do think we've had claims through People Services for some issues, maybe not always sewer related.
I think that would be more of a negligence thing, wouldn't you, James? I mean, a maintenance thing, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think, so, like the sewer cleaning plan, since you guys have that, are gonna have that in effect. That would be something that you'd be like, well, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're cleaning the sewers.
Mm.
That's not on,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's find out more information.
I will,
Let's find out if we do have coverage currently, because I wonder if we do.
for sure.
All right, item 7, new business, item A. Discussion and possible approval of ordinance 678, amended employee wages, so. We didn't get the changes in there for the librarian position that they wanted, so.
Add a little more detail of that. So last year when they didn't hire the assistant, they had rolled some of the salary increase onto the librarian. And so the librarian was not being paid what we had in our ordinance. And so to make it right with librarian this year, we're adjusting it to give her a 3% raise with it like everybody else. So we're adjusting to give her a 3% raise versus she would have been given a negative raise if she would, per the old ordinance.
And this is 3 more hours also.
And then we adjusted the hours to 22.5 to keep it all in budget. Because originally it was 23.5. Last month we approved. So due to the increase, we dropped back by an hour to keep it all in budget.
What we have in front of us is correct then.
Yep,
This,
the one we have in front of us, and then we would normally suspend the rules to read this ordinance in one night.
yeah, I can do that. Let's see, where's this?
First word is ordinances on the page that you need.
Right, the suspension though is we need to suspend the rules for this, don't we?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay. I move to introduce ordinance number 678, and move the statutory rules requiring reading on 3 different days be suspended.
I'll second that motion to suspend the rules.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules for the normal consideration of ordinance 678. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. The motion to suspend the rules was adopted by the majority of the village board, and the statutory rules are declared for the consideration of ordinance 678.
I move for final passage of ordinance number 678, which reads: an ordinance of the Board of Trustees, Village of Arlington, Washington County, Nebraska, amending ordinance 676, that the following policies of employment be adopted by the Board of Trustees.
Here's red.
Hold on. I'm ready. I second the motion for the final passage.
Shall ordinance 678 be passed and adopted? Let's roll call vote.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. The passage and adoption of ordinance 678, having been concurred on by a majority of the members of the village board, has been passed and adopted this 16th day of October, 2023. Item B, discussion with 325 West Eagle Street property owner about non-conforming properties in C1 zoning district with planning commission recommendation. You want to go ahead, Mike?
So you have the motions in front of you. First of all, my apologies. It was a long day. We had our prevention at the school. I had a meeting and I flew back only to work on a motorcycle accident on the highway and got here in about 15 minutes. Or got to the packet of it. I'm going back and running down there about 15 minutes. A little bit of confusion, I think, about whether or not we actually have a special use exemption. Nikki and I emailed back and forth a couple of times. The feeling of the planning commission was that we want to be two things. First of all, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to encourage the continued use of buildings. Like, my opinion, and I think I can speak for the planning commission, we don't want to put too many roadblocks in front of someone that wants to use that building, even under the pending sale. With that said, I think everybody agrees that as the village as a whole can do a better job of not spot zoning just when an opportunity comes up. There's certainly historically been. So the motions are in front of you. I would be happy to take any questions and encourage you. And the second motion kind of speaks to the same thing. And going forward, we're going to encourage the village to continue, if there's a special use exemption for a property, use this 235 as an example. If there's been a special exemption there, it wouldn't automatically expire until the property either burns down or doesn't get used anymore, or if at some point it reverts back to the normal use of, to use this as an example, it becomes a bank again or something that normally would be used, then that would be good. Otherwise, it may continue. So if somebody remodels it for apartments, it can continue to be used if it's sold. The example down the highway of the property that's down the highway, at some point, if he sells that, then he's had no choice but to tear that building down. And I don't think there's always going to be a little bit of a rubbing match between enforcing the rules literally and trying to provide good development. In my opinion, the smaller the community is, the more difficult.
Are you the property owner? Do you have any, would you like to comment at this time or?
Well, it would be pretty, even trying to deal in real estate with it. If it's in flux, it makes it difficult. And I put it in, I went and permitted that through Chris. I don't know what. I had a full permit in Washington County in Blair, and I changed that to, it was a church at the time. They'd been trying to get a church running there. And then I made it into a single family dwelling. And that's probably been 22 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. when you, so you, in the process, help me understand, because I went back to try to find like when it became single family or whatever,
Mhm.
and I didn't ever see it change.
And I don't know that nothing was ever said to me about it needed to change. It's just that he come and inspected it, because I divided it up, put bedrooms in it, and I put smoke detectors tied together and stuff like that, brought it up to code. And I put a kitchen in it, remodeled the bathroom because it had 2 bathrooms. So I put 1 bathroom in it, put a tub and shower in it and stuff. And then that was it. You know, been renting it ever since. The last guy that was in there was Shad Dahlgren, the guy that was a paraplegic. He was there for probably almost 10 years. Yeah. And he moved back to his family. And I'm just like, I was at appointments today because I'm getting my knees replaced. And so for me, and then I run a venue south of town. And it's just something that I'm not going to do anymore if I don't have to. Yeah.
So I guess my question comes like, do it properly though. We have no continual uses to do that. Because.
So a little bit of background, it was great and provided a copy of a possible ordinance. Again, I was beyond rushed. The copy wasn't really clear in it for Washington County, Idaho. So we looked at that and it's Washington County, special uses. So, and again, didn't do my due diligence to refer to the product. Going forward, I would let you guys discuss whether or not at this point you want to write, for lack of a better word, a special use exemption. So that in this case and any others that come up, we at least have that flexibility, or not, we want to stay real strictly with the definition of any zoning, but obviously this applies to more community, not just you want. In my opinion.
And you know, the building right next to there is been around like ever since. And I think the senior center's got apartments in it. And one across the street to the west, I think, has like rental above the bar, you know. And I would assume that the people that are looking at it, nobody wants it for a rental. So if they're going to live in it, they would probably do a little better job than I have in the last few years of keeping it up. As far as aesthetic, you know, when I first come in, I put only windows in it. I sure walled the front, you know, whatever needed, I did it.
For me, it seems like we have a conundrum with our strategic plan, which tells us we're supposed to. When these properties become available, we're supposed to change them into commercial, the ones that have been used as residential and now changed to either C1 or industrial or whatever we've got. You know, we've got different zones on that side of the highway where we've got the same kind of issues.
I would say that the biggest problem with that is lack of people wanting to buy them for commercial use. You know what I mean? So if you don't have a market for it, I don't know how that works. You know, Reed's Plumbing was across the street. He put the furnace in there for me, but he no longer exists as far as plumbing. I think that's just a building that just sits. And I don't want to be the guy that just has a building that just sits. And I would assume that I can continue to rent the building if I keep it myself, right?
I wouldn't think so.
I think that's a troubled one. So
Right.
the one on the highway that I think you're referring to, they build a shop down there and they have a house.
And by the way, the information I have secondhand.
See if you remember the same way I do, but that came in front of us. They wanted a special use permit when that house was up for sale. They wanted the board to justify that that was a residence. And I believe at the time that we said, this is zone industrial. And we don't believe we should spot zone that. If you want to do it at your own risk, you know, you can buy it as a residence, but I don't believe that we amended that to make it a special use as a residential, so that they bought it knowing that if it burned down or if they had to get a building permit for it, if they weren't gonna be in trouble at that point.
That would no longer be housing. Yep.
Do you remember that? And that seems to be about how, yeah. That's the only precedent that I have as far as, dealing. Now, we've also had other buildings that, they were grandfathered in, so I don't know that we can just go in and take, then we would, by rights, we would have to do that to the apartments next door, because there's not a business below the apartments. Second story apartments are legal if there's a business, that is in our code.
Well, let me ask you this, what's the end game? I mean, what does it look like to you guys if there's nobody wanting to buy these buildings and we can't rent them?
Well,
I'm still gonna own it.
That's a problem we're trying to work through. We're trying to get through our strategic plan update. And then we can have a committee to talk about downtown revitalization and how do we get grant money now that we have our plan updated. I think we're at the ending stages of that, updating our comprehensive plan, but.
You guys live without me for a moment?
Yes, so,
Can we,
yes,
so are you wanting to put me in a hole?
Someone else might not be able to live without you. You should probably go.
It's at your house, no.
Jeez.
in my opinion,
There's
if
nobody at
you're
my house,
renting
so I'm really
now,
worried.
I wonder if it's unfair of us to just throw the renters out, but it's been vacant for 9 months, so. Then that throws us into a conundrum. Is it a continued use or were you grandfathered in?
Well, and I guess my question is, was there ever continuous use granted as opposed to just you being able to get a permit?
I never had to come to a meeting.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know if
I never had to
ever.
talk to anybody about it,
Kate's research today didn't come up with any variances that had been granted on the property. And back to 19, what you said it was already industrial.
75.
It was commercial.
Since 1975, it's been like commercial. That's been like the zoning, the use, all that.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to find like any there can't be a conditional use permit for it because residential for C1 is not a conditional use. So even if anyone granted a conditional use permit to that, it's not valid because you don't actually have that listed. That would have to change. As far as the non-conforming use of it goes, our ordinance says that to permit, so the intent of it is to permit lawful nonconformities to continue until they are removed. And that house or that building's been empty for 9 months. Is that it being removed, the nonconformity? And then our ordinance says, and not to encourage the survival of nonconformities. So
This is a conundrum we're put in a lot of times.
I think the hard part is this, right? So it has operated that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Did it operate that way in the correct manner and should have been operating?
It doesn't.
That's not, I mean, we can't go back and change that, right? But to me, if it has always been commercial and should still, and still is commercial, like it never got changed with the most updated plan. And there isn't a continual permitted use, right? Like a permitted conditional use in place for commercial to be used as single family, then we have work to do as a board and as a planning commission to get to that point as well, because we have single family like dwelling that are actual single family dwellings that sit in the commercial area that we need to address, right?
Yeah, we do.
And either we need to give them an option or we need to say, no, there is no option, right?
There's a house right south of it.
That's what I'm saying, which is set up to me as a single family house and was back in the 70s.
It was
a residential property where unfortunately your property to me has always been commercial and should have remained commercial the whole time, even though.
Yeah, when I did that, there wasn't even any question about it. Nobody cared. You
Yeah,
know, we just use,
They'd rather see it be occupied.
yeah.
yeah. I'm
Because
sure that
I
was
sit
the
there and
thought.
write down otherwise, because to tell you the truth, I don't. It's the same problem where I grew up. Nobody buys commercial property in small towns, you know, and I know what you're talking about, the urban renewal thing. I checked into that. There was a lot of red tape in that. And, you know,
Yeah.
you about gotta pay people to pursue that for you.
Well, and maybe it's not that grant, but maybe it's, you know, potential for downtown and, you know, whatever, but. But we can't move forward with any of that until we do get our plan updated, and we're real close to updating that strategic plan.
So,
And we'd like to move forward with a committee that's gonna try and drive some of this stuff and get some businesses back in town. So I would
you want me to be in the hold pattern until you do that? Is that what you want me to do? Because, I mean, I don't think that's a fair place to be for me. You know, I've paid taxes on that building for 23 years. Paid utilities and I'm the owner, you know. And you're kind of like, you're tying my hands. And you know, this stuff could take a long time for you guys to do this.
I don't think there's ever gonna be a perfect time to tell everybody that, hey, we need this residence changed to commercial. I think we've got a great window with your property because you don't have a renter. And as
But
far
I
as,
do have a renter if I want to put him in there. I got to sign a lease on it.
but do you have to make repairs before that?
No, I don't have to do anything. I mean, there's what I call refresh, you know, but Shad lived in it just like it was. And as far as that goes, it's plenty livable. It's not like what would you say?
Uninhabitable.
Uninhabitable. It's not that way at all. It's fine, you know. If I had a key to it with me, I could take you guys and show you, but it's fine. I had a little water leak in the roof, but I fixed that last week. So to just put me out there and hang me out and say, this is something we're gonna do. Even if you do your stuff, nobody wants to buy it in commercial, then where does that put me? That's the problem you have right now. You got the grocery store that's not commercial, used to be. You got Reed Plumbing that's commercial, it's not now. And if you're looking for a fixed up, nicer looking building, I would say a new owner would probably do that, whether it's residential or commercial.
The other thing that concerns me about residential there is there's no off-street parking for it. There's no chance of adding off-street parking. You know, that's something else that we have to consider. That's taking up business parking spots there. If, you know, if you have somebody with 2 or 3 vehicles, just like the one next door.
But there's no businesses competing with parking either. You know, I don't think there's a restaurant there now either, is there? Is there a hairdresser across the street? Is there anything?
Yeah, there's still.
Is there a hairdresser?
But I think at the same time, if we continue to look at our strategic plan and what we want to see happen for the downtown area, is that we would like to see the commercial, like, personally, I would like to see commercial go in there, right? Now, I don't know either from a market standpoint where you got to decide, right?
It's going the other way. If you want the case history, what you're wanting and what's happening is not going on. It's going the other way. Because since I've been here, there's been a lot of businesses leave Arlington. And I don't think it's because the buildings aren't nice enough. I think it's just small town USA, you know. Where I grew up, there used to be like lumber yards, tractor dealers, and there's nothing there but one gas station.
But I could make the same argument from a commercial aspect, that there is desire for the commercial aspect because the downtown properties are selling as commercial properties. REIT sold in a day.
To Mark. And he's
as a commercial property.
Yeah, but he's not doing anything with it.
It's rented out to one business, right? Like I think there's opportunities to be had downtown for commercial, right? That's just my opinion.
Storage is commercial.
If the city would want to purchase the building and then you guys could do that.
Have you put it out there from a resident? Like right now, it's being listed as a residence, right?
No, it's listed as both.
Is it,
Yeah.
it's listed as both?
Mhm.
So then, like to me, I would say you just have to see if there's offers that come in from a commercial aspect, I guess, like. I hope there is, that's what I haven't been through yet though, so I don't know, like. That would be
Your
my,
goal is that the buildings look good, right?
Our goal is to have a functioning downtown that, has revitalized with some businesses, whether they're,
And that's a possibility with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But you're asking me to take the,
You're taking the risk on. As to how you.
you're asking me to take all the risks.
Sure.
And I've been a business owner in this town and I don't think that's fair. Plus, you're asking me to take it like if there's different people looking at it, one residential, one commercial, and then you say, well, you can only sell it as commercial, that's gonna drive the price down on the property for me.
well, here's what I have a problem with. The recommendation of the planning commission is to recommend that we grandfather this in for the life of the building. So what they want us to do is take something that was done wrong in the first place and absolve anybody of any wrongdoing and allow it to be the use that it wasn't intended for the life of the building.
And that would be the blowback of that.
Well, that cripples the entire future of this board to be able to turn that, I don't know if that's a cornerstone building for a downtown development project or, a new whatever building, new business.
I don't think it's ever gonna be a bank again.
Probably not. There's probably not a drive-through window available there.
Now, the property size of that building is the same size as the building.
Yeah.
It's 25 by 50. So what are you guys asking me to do? Is this something you would want to do if it was yours?
I would like to, personally, if you gave me my personal choice, not speaking as a board member, I would like to see it become a business somehow. Because of the limited, it's such a limited.
So would you be
property.
interested in purchasing the building and pursuing it? Because you're asking me, that's where I'm at. You're saying, I would like to see it be a business, but I'm not gonna buy it from you and make it a business. I want you just to ride this out. And
Would you sell it for 10% over tax valuation?
What is a tax valuation?
I know it's a lot less than the asking price. I don't
even know what the asking.
I
price
thought-
is. I don't know how you guys know all this stuff. I gotta get.
Well, I've been checking some of the, yeah.
What is the asking price then?
I haven't seen it for a while. I thought it was over 100.
It was, yeah. And that was a realtor telling me what the place for,
Yeah. Hey.
What's the tax eval on it? Can you guys look that up?
I thought it was around 40.
No, it's more than that.
71.
There.
Okay.
So do you want to buy it for 10% over tax evaluation?
I don't think I should be making offers about property. In the middle of it. I think that would be highly unethical.
You're asking.
Would you? That's just the standard that we got when we were estimating values of flood damaged homes. That's where I came up with that number.
But you see what I mean?
I know.
I mean, I got real estate that I want to sell because I'm at the point in my life when I want to do it. And you guys are telling me I can't sell it. I don't think that's fair.
I don't think we're telling you can't sell it. Correct.
You're telling me who I can sell it to.
I think what we're trying to tell you is that we feel like we shouldn't keep looking, keep a blind eye to something that we know isn't.
Hey, if nobody wants to buy that business for commercial,
This is the spot, right? Alpha block.
what happens?
There. Yeah.
Zoom in more.
You know what I'm saying? If you won't let it rent and you won't let it sell, then it doesn't have a really good future.
I'm not saying that we don't want it to sell. I think we want it to sell. We would like to see it sell as a commercial property so so business comes into town and that, I mean, that's what we want to see with the downtown.
The guy that's bought what else he bought? He's bought the Reed Building, he bought the grocery store. He bought another one, didn't he? He has done nothing with them, has he?
There's two businesses in Mike's old building.
What's the businesses?
There's dog groomers and a health center.
Dog groomers and a health center?
There
Okay.
was a woodworker in the Reed building for a while. I know that's moved on. There's talk about is it a sales business
An auto dealership that they're licensing.
for like used parts?
Used cars?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a real desirable downtown type thing, but you know, that's just.
I agree with Paul's conundrum.
I mean,
I think officer could make a case either way.
we're being told to convert these properties, but we don't have the tools to do it. We don't have the method or the steps.
I told you a commercial property, where are you guys getting that stuff?
Our strategic plan wants us to convert all residential properties in this area to commercial.
Is that what you're getting from the city? You mean?
The strategic plan was made up by members of the community.
Whole bunch of different.
Okay, all right, I just, I mean, I know people live here, but I don't know what's goes on,
No, you're good.
What I told him while you were gone was that I believe it's unfair for us to take a recommendation from you guys to say, we're supposed to look at a non-conforming use that was never technically issued as a non-conforming use, and then do it for the eternity of the building. I feel like that cripples future boards for a potential for something, to do something.
Do you have any documentation from 20 years ago when you purchased it and converted it or not? Is there anything that you could
you
find?
might probably have a permit,
The building permit,
yeah,
but not
not
a non-conformity. Yeah.
It wasn't like it was done under the radar,
No,
you know what I
I,
mean?
yeah.
So I was out there on that scaffolding set up front, I power washed front of that before I did that, put a whole new roof on it, tore the roof off, put a rubber roof on it.
And I believe I would have been on the planning commission in roughly 2003, and I don't remember.
And I think I had it with
I feel like I can speak for the board in saying that nobody's out to get you in this situation. Nobody wants to see you lose.
maybe not, but the situation you're putting me in is kind of a tough one.
Again, the conundrum.
Mhm.
I would ask you that if this was any one of you guys, this was your situation. I'm 62 years old, and the spot that I am in life, like I said, I opened that wedding barn, I built that. It's called Heartland Country Barn south of Fremont, and I'm busy. And getting this knee done November 1st, this one done December 29th. I don't want to be up here working on this. I don't have time to work on it before then, because I'm doing another project right now. And you're just asking me to take a financial backseat, and I don't think you guys want to do that for yourselves. Depends on how deep your convictions are, I guess.
So I'll maybe try to let the village board off the hook a little bit. Tuesday night, when you go Tuesday night at the planning commission, there was some conversation about wanting to continue conversations and good conversations, good communication between the planning commission and the board, so that our votes are more consistent with what, quite frankly, what we expect the board to do. But clearly, this is an exception to this, and I again take responsibility that we didn't understand all of the facts when we made that decision to recommend take that. I repeat again, I personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of the commission, obviously. But I tend to agree with Paul, you're forced to choose between two good things. One is to continue the hope of being able to develop this area at C1 and be consistent with that. On the other hand, bird in the hand, the reality is that building will probably sit there if you don't go forward with this, because it's sort of lent, it sort of groomed itself into being used for residential and rocket hard place. I am personally fine with it, whatever decision you make. And I'll take responsibility for explaining it to the client.
And Paul, I would have to, I just can't tell you that I would have to think that I talked to somebody before I ever bought the property, because I wouldn't have bought it without knowing that I could do what I did, because I wouldn't have been too smart on my part. So whether it was just somebody at the desk here or whatever it was, and I would say I probably did my due diligence. That's why I contacted the county guy, you know, and then.
And you did that 20 years ago. That's when this happened, you said?
Yeah, I bought this I'm trying to, you know, I think I probably bought it before 2000, but I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. But I never anticipated any problems with it not being what it is, because this is what you see in a lot of small towns, because nobody wants to buy a commercial, so people turn them into something that they can use, you know? And I think that's still a problem. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you. If I just had somebody coming up to me wanting to buy it for put in a gun shop, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd just sell it to them and it'd go. And just because we want something to happen, I want somebody to buy it as a gun shop, if that's okay, but it's not happening. And I understand what you guys are up against. You want urban renewal, but it has to go past wanting it. It has to happen. It has to be something
It's gonna have to be made with tough decisions, like, you know.
when it has to be made with people with money to buy buildings that want to turn them into something commercial, right?
Yeah. And, you know, we do have some history of, there is other people in town that have bought old buildings and turned them into, you know, next to Mike's building. There's someone who's bought a building and turned it into a commercial building. They redid it. It's not like it can't happen. I mean,
They bought it for that reason, you mean?
yes,
They bought it for that reason, yeah.
they bought it, refurbished it, and now there's a cabinet maker working out of there, and
My wife and I were just talking about your building the other day, going for a walk, in Tacoma. They made a speakeasy in the old bank. I mean, that'd be a perfect little spot if someone had the idea, but money to make it happen. Hope I want the
Tacoma
power.
bank's much bigger, but okay.
this one is an exclusive speakeasy.
It's got a safe in it. There's no door on it, but it has a safe in it.
That's where their bar is, in the old bowl.
And you know, it's the dumbest design because they poured the bottom floor of the safe that thick. When they capped it, then they built brick walls in the safe and capped it. So it's red brick walls in the safe. You can get through it with a hammer in 5 minutes.
Maybe that's why it's not a bank.
But I'm not sure what the legalities are for me, what I can do. But I'm not wanting to sell to a porn shop or vapors or,
Well,
you know,
Those aren't even options.
I don't think the first one would be,
you know what I'm saying? I'm not looking to sell it for any.
You just want to get a good price for the property you own. You get it, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And by allowing it to be either or, you got a better market. I get that.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. I couldn't think of that, but if it's either or, it creates competition more, which is better for me to sell it. And when you guys close the door on the rental, then if there is anybody looking at commercial, you're just pulling money out of my pocket. It's like the bonus for paying the taxes on it for the last 23 years and keeping people in there.
Your ultimate goal though is to sell it. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're not listing it unless you're.
The only reason I haven't sold it before now is because I've been too busy to
Sure.
mess with it.
Sure.
It is currently listed, right?
It is, but it's only been listed has it been listed a month? Here's what happened.
Sign there for.
I have no idea.
Brian Billwalk, you know him? Are you related to Keith? Or not?
No, I'm not, no.
Okay. Well, Brian Billwalk, I used to work with him at the plant. Because I worked for Paramount for 30 years. I know Toby Fitz lives here in town. We worked together.
Mhm.
And their daughter got married in Lavinia. And I just told her, I said, I got this place over at Arlington. Dad moved out. I haven't even went over there and did anything with it. And I need to sell them. She said, I'll sell it for you. That's where this went, Because sold, whichever way it sells, it's gonna, you got somebody living there, they're gonna spiff it up. You got somebody buy for business, I would think they would spiff it up. But the fact that it got under the radar of the city of Arlington isn't something that I tried to do.
And I don't think we're trying to imply that.
You know what I
We're
mean?
just saying that a mistake was made in the past.
Right,
We're not saying who made it,
but I'm paying for it.
or. I would
See what I'm saying?
if you said this started 20 years ago, maybe that strategic plan changed after you bought the building and it's not your fault,
Right,
But this is what we're tasked with trying to follow is the strategic plan of let's convert these residential properties into the proper zoning where they're at as they become available. To me, this seems like the perfect time to, as they become available, to say, maybe this is the time we try and convert it. Obviously, we don't have that in our budget to buy it from you as a city right now, but.
Or it needs to be a permitted use.
Or,
And if that is the option that we want to continue, then to me, that process goes through the proper channels, which goes
well, it's
back
already
to the
been.
planning commission, which then goes through, the discussions to get it in our ordinances to allow it as a permitted use. Then we would have an option. But I feel like right now, we don't even have that option.
correct.
So we can go, to me, like around in circles here, but in reality, we can't even say, yes, you can have it as a rental or as a residence because it's not even in.
Yeah,
It's not even in our ordinance.
we would have to make up some kind of a motion that's not an ordinance backed motion tonight to grant you permission to keep doing what's been going on. Because it's against all of our ordinances, even the special permitted uses. So.
I would reiterate what Jeremy said, two options. One, or additional option would be better, which says we dump it back to the planning commission. We just don't know what to do with this. Look at this again, now that you have all the facts and make another recommendation, which might be the same, that's may not. The only other thing I mentioned was if, and again, these are good things to choose from. Development between long-term, really, this is short-term development or long-term development. If you're going to pursue that, see one that long-term development, then I think the board needs to build some capacity in there to be able to actually do something with it down there as these properties become available. Whether it's soliciting, really being more aggressive in soliciting buildings so that we put somebody in that, or whether it's buying up the other lots. The fear that the planning commission talking about is that if we say no to this, the likelihood that that thing's gonna sit empty, because in a practical sense, with all due respect to the ideas for the, no, never mind, I'm not gonna mention it. The fact is that if we don't use it for something, and this is the most likely use, that it'll probably sit empty until all of a sudden it drops in the city's hands because it's starting to fall apart. So if you want to dump it back to the planning commission, that's fine.
I like the idea of having an option to vote on as a legal permitted use. I mean, if we can have the planning commission recommend that to us and change the ordinance, obviously this doesn't hurry things up for your, I mean, you want this done in a month or two, and I don't think we could possibly do that before next board meeting, but
So the property next door, what's the situation on that one?
well, if that one was to burn down, I don't think that we should allow it to be rebuilt as residential in a C1 zone.
You know what I mean?
That would be my feeling.
If I have somebody on a lease in this property now. And there are people leasing the one next to me. Is there any difference? Can you tell me that I can't let somebody live in that as a rental when they're doing it next door and it's probably the same circumstance? That would be kind of discriminative.
You know,
The only difference I see is I believe the one next door was somehow, I don't know how they built it, but was
it
somehow.
was obviously built with that intent.
With that
It
intent.
wasn't built, but
It was,
That would be my only.
I looked at buying that property about 15 years ago and it was built as was it a phone company building?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I think it was a phone company building. It was built as a phone building.
you know what? I think you're right. Now that I think about it,
Who owns
it's been an
that?
apartment so long, I forgot that it was ever anything else.
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't say bank on the front of it or anything.
So all I'm saying is I feel like if you're telling me I couldn't let this guy rent my place, then you'd have to tell the people next door they need to move out.
So when we first moved to town, so that would have been 1983, it was a collection of offices. Rick Ortmeyer was in front, there was an insurance guy, something else in there. And it seems to me, this is 40 years ago. There was some kind of an apartment or somebody living in downstairs below. So even then, it was arguably a mixed use violation of what was C1.
Yeah, because when I looked at it, I took a tour of it. My wife's the one who told me I couldn't buy it. She thought I had too much to do. And I could tell by looking at it that it was built as offices. And then whoever turned in the apartments kind of did a half, wasn't too slick. It still had the old paneling on the walls back in those days.
You see any other options other than what you were suggesting? You guys see any other options?
Too often anymore, it seems like, we got the codes and the zoning, but we're always through hoops changing all the time. I mean, they set it there for a reason. But he has a very good point at the end there too.
And that's why I think it has to go back to the planning commission. And to be looked at from a larger not just your property. We're in that boat where we're still fighting this, and we will fight it, right, going forward. And we need to either somehow have the option to correct it. Or we need to say, no, we're not correcting it, and we need to fix what. We need to say, no, this is what we want, and it matches our strategic plan and our right, it matches our stuff. And then how do we go about doing it, right? And unfortunately, that doesn't go fast, right? And I feel like that's where we get it. We get to a point where someone has something, and that's when we address it, and we need to start thinking a little bigger and right.
So legally, how the real estate agent determine that it could be legally listed as a residential property?
Because that's what the assessor put in. The assessor drove by, saw it was apartments, and said this is residential.
Gotcha.
Over my pay grade, I don't know.
So
I don't know whether this counts.
Assessor made that choice.
Does putting a time limit on the special use exception make any difference? 1 year, 2 years? That both satisfies the short-term need. Somebody's gonna have to buy it.
If you did something like that, you wouldn't get anybody that would want to buy it as a residential because you'd throw them out in a couple of years. numbers.
The potential would be there, yes.
Right,
Right.
yeah,
That doesn't
I mean, if I
change
was
much
buying it,
for
I would
you.
worry about that, yeah.
that's the trade-off. So it buys you 2 years and it buys the board 2 years.
you mean to leave it set as a rental, you mean, for now,
Yeah,
until they sell it?
You can rent it for 2 years. Theoretically, I'm not speaking for the board, but theoretically be attached 1 or 2 or 3 years to it. Then that would give you 2 years to sell. So you know, that the board's got the option of denying the use permit.
I feel like here's what I think, guys. I've owned that property like 20 to 23 years. When I first started, I used to come over and clean Ross's building for him when James Ross owned that. My kids and I come over and clean that. And there was Reese next door. One of the guys at the plant used to work at the bar. I've actually been at that place when we had a wedding reception in the upstairs. This has probably been 15, 20 years ago, at least 20 years ago. There was a hairdresser. And there was quite a few things there, and I've seen things come and go, but they've went more than they've came. And I think you guys are looking for tax dollars to get it fixed up so that you can dress it up and then maybe people will come. But somebody's money's got to do that. I don't want to wait for urban renewal because, undoubtedly that property would be worth more if I would wait for it to get fixed up. Because some of that money you don't even have to pay back if you can get through, and that's probably what you're looking for, that grant money. But I don't even know that that's going to bring the businesses in. It'll just make the buildings look better. Because some of those buildings don't look too bad.
Well, and these are the discussions we need to have down the road. How do we get the building? How do we get the businesses here? And that's part of what we're working on. I know it's not gonna be as fast as you want to see it done.
Part of what the planning commission should do is do the kind of legwork so that the board can focus on all the 867 other things you have to do. So I would personally, just as one member, dump it back to the planning.
If it was me, and you guys are gonna say that's just your property. If you already had everything in place, I'd say, yeah, you got her done. You know what I mean? It's already done, it's in place. But it's not. And you're wanting guys like me to hold the bag while you guys get this all done. And I would say, you probably should just let things go the way they're gonna go until you get stuff done. And then you can start enforcing that when you have things in place, but you don't have them in place now. And the fact that it was special use, granted or not, wasn't my doings. I just did what I did because it worked, and nobody knew the better. I didn't. I wouldn't have bought it if I couldn't have done it for that because I wasn't planning on putting a business in it, And so now, if you want to go that route, I think, this is just me, this is my opinion, you gotta let it go the way it's gonna go, and then start with the next case and get your stuff done before the next real estate comes up for auction. But you're hanging me right in the middle of this when you don't have your stuff done and saying you're on hold until we get this done. But if you just let this go and I do my deal, all you do is you may have a business in there and you may have a rental in there, but you'll just have somebody else to deal with down the road. And you may not even have a rental in there. You may have a business. But then you can get your stuff together. And I've served on boards before, not city councils, but I know there's a process and I know that this stuff doesn't move at light speed. But you're probably not going to have a bunch of other people trying to sell while you're trying to get stuff in a row. I had no idea you guys were looking at zoning, different zoning, but you're in the middle of it. And
The zoning's been changed a long time ago. We're just trying to figure out how we make everything conform to what we've been told
right.
we're supposed to do.
And you can still do that.
But going back to that, the zoning never changed. The zoning was always commercial
In that particular.
building.
Yeah.
So I would say that kudos that you got rent for 20 some years. And now that it's come to light, count your blessings that you got the rent for those.
What about the building
Holy
next
summers.
door?
And that's what we need to start addressing, I think, from that perspective too. And that's where, to me, it starts with the planning commission to start us down that path. Now, if you want
Does that building next door have special use permit?
to, again, we haven't even started
I
to
would
look.
be surprised if it does.
The reason the question hasn't been asked is because it hasn't been listed.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I would argue
That's-
you probably should have some kind of a triggering event before you go over to the apartment building and start kicking. people.
Or if it wasn't listed, these kinds of questions about zoning weren't asked years ago. It was just,
Right.
So here's what I think. I think if we don't do anything, I don't feel like I'm comfortable making a motion. I mean, I can't make a motion, but I don't know what kind of motion we would make tonight without consulting our lawyer.
Consulting your mind.
Without consulting our attorney about what kind of a motion we could make. I think it needs to go back to the planning commission.
Happy to take the heat.
My opinion is the same thing we did to the house on the highway. You've been using it this way. You continue using it that way. If the thing burns down and you need to get a building permit, you're gonna have to comply to the current zoning standards. If there's a major damage to it where it's more than 50% of the value and you have to get those permits for that, it's gonna be, there's still gonna be some risk on the current owner if you sell it or whatever, that, yeah, if you.
Yeah, that's a pretty calculable risk, you know what I mean? That could be,
Yeah.
I've seen that happen in Fremont. You remember Weesey? Down there, Weesey plumbing guy, when he built that new house? That was zoned commercial, industrial, but they just left like one wall and they built a whole new, because they want to live there. And that's just one of those deals where they just did a workaround. So where does that put me? What are you guys telling me?
I will ask the planning commission to convene a special meeting before next meeting so that we can make some progress. I can't obviously gonna do it before, but
Can anybody think of a motion we can make tonight that would change anything?
we're saying this is legal to do right now. Because the special use is not, the special use of residential is not allowed in C1.
Right, we don't have that permitted use. As one that
There's
we
not a
can-
permitted conditional use.
Conditional use.
But there's a special use or a special,
No.
No, there isn't.
no.
Not that we can find,
Right.
Right?
probably the same
Probably the
thing
one
next
next
door.
door too.
If the next door place went up for sale and they were asking us the same questions, I think we
We'd
would
be in
be
the
telling
same
them
boat.
we would be in the same boat.
But being up for sale and selling is two different things. It's not sold. So I would think in theory, it could still be rented. As a residential. Wouldn't be any different than the place next door.
If we hadn't stopped you for the last 20 years, I don't know why we would stop you from renting it now.
That's what I think that's a fair statement.
Unless we make a change based on,
Other than that, we've now had a public hearing and we now know you are in violation of it.
Correct.
I
Unfortunately,
mean, that's, unfortunately, that is the.
well,
that
this is the same thing that happened.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
And they're
Right.
living in a house, but they
and then the
They
question,
knew that the city wasn't gonna give them a special exemption. If the house burned down, it's gonna be industrial down there.
Yeah, and that's what these guys told me the other night, that it would be just special exempted and stay with the building. Which just gives it flexibility. For market,
but that would be if we had special, like if we had that as permitted conditional use. But we don't, right?
like the one next door.
We don't think either property.
Either
has it.
property.
I'm gonna guess neither one of them has it.
We haven't
That's,
checked it
that would
out,
be my assumption.
but I would be surprised if that one has any different than you do, because I'm sure that there was
The
a.
process was probably the same,
Yeah,
right?
it's been a rental ever since I've been there. It was a rental when I put that one as a rental. I don't think that had anything to do why I did it. I don't remember thinking, this is rental, I'm gonna do this.
if I'm looking at the map correctly, then the apartments above the senior center. Why
They're not.
Well.
No, they're
Yeah,
not.
because they're second story,
That's the second story.
Because it's second.
which is allowed use.
in a commercial,
A second story residence above a business has been allowed.
and that
In
falls
our-
within our, yeah.
Just to clarify, it has been allowed in the code.
In the code, it's allowed. It's not even a special
Not-
additional, it's allowed.
It's allowed.
That's.
In that zone.
Why is that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And that's where we go back, I think.
And that
Need to
was,
figure out kind of the same perspective and whether we can continue those conversations,
Got it.
because I think that's better time spent
Yeah.
there than trying to figure it out now.
So realistically, what are we looking at for the timeline? Because you got a real, it's got potential buyers. You know what that'll do to the sales.
I would say at least a month. It'll, now that I put calendar together a little bit, it'll be a little bit of a push to get back to you. How much notice do we need to give her? Just
10 days and
10
paper publishes on Fridays. So,
and how many days do we need for a conditional use?
well, it's not we'd have to change the ordinance.
We have to change order.
We'd have to change C1 ordinance to allow for residential, like on the first ground floor, in the permitted conditional uses. And that would require 3 separate readings.
Wave.
So we'd waive it, but then you'd have to apply and go through that process. I mean,
So
Yeah, so even at that point though, so let's just say we get to that. You would still have to then apply for, then whoever owns those properties, whether it's yours, the one next door, would need to apply for those conditional use permits, and then we would have to decide if that's what we're going to continue to allow them to be or not.
But I think any changes that would be made, once things are there, you'd be grandfathered in until something happened to the building. I don't see us throwing people out on their ears once we change, just like we've done now. You know, we've changed the zoning on the highway. We didn't throw those people out of their house, you know?
if you can find any documentation that proves that it has a special use exception, that would be huge. That would speed up this entire process.
And I don't know, I might have that, but I don't know.
Yeah, look,
Even if it's not the code.
he has some kind of, from either this body or from the county. I would think that would be something that we would definitely take into consideration,
That would permit him, but it wouldn't.
not necessarily the next
It
person.
wouldn't necessarily transfer.
Right. It might, I don't know what that document looks like, if it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might take up numbers.
It might say what you guys voted on.
Or in the meantime, someone gives you an offer for commercial use, then we move on down the road. That'd be the best case scenario, right?
That
You know,
would be
here's
best
the
case for
problem.
us.
Let me tell you a little bit more about it. Even the people that potentially are offered commercial, they're shaky because of the uncertainty of the board with use.
Well, the
Because they don't
people,
know.
But if it's
People that-
commercial,
There's absolutely no shakiness.
there
on
would
the
be no
commercial.
shakiness. They could do anything that's permitted within
In
the
the
city.
commercial.
Well, because, you
We
know,
can
the
give you
other
that.
night when I was
to
here,
give you that list of permitted uses in the zone.
the other night when I was here, they were talking and they were reading some of the stuff in the deal, what is.
Which now we know did not apply to Arlington, Washington County, Nebraska, Washington County.
You can give them the list of what the commercial one is right there,
What
Jeremy.
was the fast forward? When it said-
Yeah.
Hey, can you guys tell me what commercial?
Yep, he's gonna tell you right now.
So
Commercial one is,
permitted uses.
Can we email
I
you
can
that
get you a
list
copy.
tomorrow?
We can get you a copy of it
Can we have,
and email it to you.
you,
Well, and it's online.
okay,
Yeah.
he's gonna make a copy for you of the permitted uses in that zone.
Okay. And I'm sure, I would think that the realtor probably has looked at that, but I'd like to see it too.
yeah, it's fine.
I mean, that's why you hire a realtor. That realtor should have already done all this research for you.
And she called, I mean, we had this conversation.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, she's been pretty diligent. I've been impressed with her. Like, go get them, you know?
Cause I'm just trying to think, your title insurance right now as is, they ain't going through, there's no way.
The title insurance, what?
They wouldn't go through the way it is because it's disputed as to what the use is.
Not according to the assessor. The assessor says residential. That's what they're gonna look at the title company, I bet. Or are they gonna cross-reference the zoning? Well, you see what I'm saying?
No, I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which that is, to me, the reason I'm chuckling is that's a bigger issue that we would have as a village that we need to make sure that we are addressing that. With the county.
With the county.
Does it say the zone in there? Does it say zone?
It says residential.
Or
No, account type.
So there's, yeah, it's two different spots.
it should give you the zone.
It should. You're right.
And what
And
is that?
It does. It does. So account or whatever, account type up there says residential. And then down here it does say zoning in A, but property class residential. So I don't, do they have zoning for anything? Let me go see, like, let's go click on my property. Does it say?
Zoning NA, it says.
Yeah, so like, here's my house. What's it say for zoning?
So what's it? What are you guys concluding?
See, it says the whole freaking town is NA.
Look up a newer one, because when I do my zoning permits, I always put R2, R1.
Okay,
There it is. Look up a new.
sure, I can do that. The one next door to the halls.
That we would pursue legal.
I know
would be moved
I
out
know
of
my zoning.
place if they can.
Put R1, R2, whatever,
What do you guys?
on the zoning.
All of them say NA.
Really?
That new one that just got built next to halls, it says NA.
Yeah, because you make sure to put.
All I've seen, it determines.
I would
Planning commission.
I don't know.
And if there's an option to allow it.
Yeah, every single one.
Yeah, they do it.
But
Until that point though,
Right,
until that point, I'm gonna tell you what happened on the highway. That's not zoned residential. They're still living in there. We haven't thrown them out. I would think that if we changed the rules while somebody was living in there, we would have to grandfather them in. Until that
I would,
use change.
because you'd have to throw the other people out next door.
And this board doesn't have malicious intent to throw anybody
Right,
out.
I can see that.
So.
Yeah.
Let's let the planning commission do.
It says
what
NA
they do.
and Blair too.
Hopefully you get a commercial offer that's above your residential.
That
offer.
does not.
That's what I can see the best case for
So
us.
that's the conversation we need to have with.
And maybe we get a business in there. But we'll have them look at an option for us to fix this problem. If we want to be able to offer a conditional permitted use.
It has the property class for
And
NA for zoning.
let's let them do that work and get it back to us, and then we'll move forward. But until that point, I think you have to tell people that it's not zoned properly. And if the place was to burn down, it may not be permitted to be rebuilt as it is such. Does that sound fair?
so. Am I understanding you correctly though, if it sells, a residence can remain?
Why would we stop if we're not gonna throw people out next door? I mean,
But it's
It's
finally changing hands.
It's changing hands.
And if it's changing hands, we have the opportunity to fix the right that at some point got wrong. And unfortunately, this is the property that may fall on, right? Where we start the process.
Doesn't have to though, that's what I'm saying.
Well, it wouldn't have to, but at the same time, the opportunity for the board is there, right? For the village to go and say, this is what we want downtown to look like. And I'm only saying that from being in Dwyer's shoes and on the planning commission and then.
what are we gonna have to do to back that up? Are we gonna have to cough up the asking price? Or the lawyer fees to make it work, or
Or 10% over assessed,
Or change the.
or change I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's so many options right now that I think we can't just say. Yeah, we can allow it to.
Cause you could change the ordinance.
I don't know if I was-
So many years.
I'm not trying to say that.
That's all I'm saying.
This
That's
is what happened over here.
Right, right. Correct, yeah.
Last thing. Word of God. All of this conversation is based on the premise that we want that area, this area, quite literally,
Yeah.
to remain C1. It has occurred to me more than just tonight that we have people theoretically beating down our doors for residential lots. And we don't have anybody beating our doors down for commercial lot. So at some point, as the planning commission wrestles with what exactly to do here and longer term, is everybody, and please, I'm not even gonna ask you not to answer this now. Think about this.
How many commercial lots have we had for sale for more than a month?
Commercial lot,
Commercial buildings. How many have we had for sale for more than 30 days?
I know how quickly mine, if that's your question.
When you go back and say we don't have people beating down the doors for commercial lots, that's my question to you. I can't remember.
The turnover is quick, is what
The
you're saying.
turnover is fast.
Oh, so
If we have people that can afford to buy these places, you know, and they're not being bought for,
well, two quick things.
yeah.
Two things in.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have stopped you.
No, you're right.
I just wanted to make it.
Things in apply, then if what you're saying is true, then your recommendation, or the direct, better way to say it, the direction for the planning commission, because the board should do that, is that no, we're pretty committed to having downtown at C1. Got it. That's probably not for us to debate. That's the big picture stuff you guys get paid to do. My only point is, this is an opportunity to at least think about that. In response to your specific things, it's great that those buildings are selling, and I'm the happy recipient of one of those, but they're not being activated. They're not vibrant businesses where people are. That would be my only report.
And that's a problem that we have to address. It's a different issue, but to say that commercial buildings won't sell or are not selling, that's the distinction I was trying to make, and I shouldn't have stopped you, but.
You're right.
But I think what he's trying to say is the market for commerciality in the businesses that are paying that would drive the price up in the buildings isn't there. Because these guys are buying this Mark, I know what he did. He bought some he likes to lowball a little bit, you know. And now maybe not you, but he approached me.
I haven't seen a commercial building sell for under tax value in 5 years. I don't believe. Have you?
No.
I think they're selling for double tax value. I think that lumber building sold for 3 times tax
So
value.
you're thinking that building.
I think Mike has no,
140,000, is that what you're telling me?
I think it sold for over 2.
No, I mean mine.
Oh,
Double tax value, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've
Any
seen.
real estate, the value is based on what your offers are. Like,
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
Particularly.
Right.
You're painting a very bleak picture, and I just want to dispute that, you know, I do think there's interest in.
And I'm not saying, but I'm just saying what I've witnessed since I've owned the property.
And maybe they're not getting businesses in them, but we're trying to figure out how we change that. That's another problem. we need to do. But
We can't give you an answer tonight on how you can sell it. How about that?
I
Unfortunately.
think that's a fair statement.
And I think you're telling me too, that if I continue to rent, that's probably okay too.
I don't think I should say that, but that's what's been going on. That's what was going on next door.
Yeah. All right. So before I go, what's the best case scenario for things to move and change? I don't know how that works for you guys. I mean, I really don't.
I think it
I
would
would
be a
say in 3
miracle if
months,
we
right?
could have
Because we could
something to
waive
vote on
it. We could
next
waive
month.
it. We could waive it by January.
Yeah.
Basically,
Does this-
for days.
Would you guys tell me, have you seen, is there availability for bed and breakfast in that building? Is that, would that be considered?
That on our permitted uses?
You mentioned that the other night, but then when you said that was Washington State, I thought maybe you were.
Washington County, Idaho.
Yeah,
don't believe. Not.
I don't remember
But I-
seeing that, but I think our list might be older than bed and breakfast were in vogue.
cause I was looking at it and see it.
Colonel Antique Automotive Victory.
I don't have the book. I can't find it online either.
Section. Not any bed and breakfast.
No, there's, but it's 18.6.
Would a bed and breakfast be considered a commercial use?
That's what we're trying to find.
I don't know, the
Apparel shop, appliance shop, antique shop, automobile parts supply store, bakery shop, bank, barber, beauty shop, bookstore, communication services, computer store, department store, drugstore, prescription shop, dry cleaner, exercise, fitness, tanning spa, floral, furniture store, gift, curio, grocery store, hardware store, hobby, craft, toy store, laundry, dry cleaning, liquor store, newsstand, photographer, picture framing shop, restaurants, cafe, fast food establishment, secondhand store, shoe store, tanning salon, variety store, video store, social club, fraternal organization.
It's the
So
same.
you.
Yeah, I didn't see. but-
Yeah, I do not see bread and
see that.
breakfast. No, it's
No.
not.
Any of our-
Let me ask you this,
And I'm not seeing it in the permitted uses either.
if somebody ran a daycare there, but they live there. Would that be
I mean,
That would be a
it would be a
residence.
resident.
a residence?
Yeah,
That's supposed to be a residence.
I did take care of them.
Yeah, the city has a lawyer. Who is the city's lawyer?
Stephen Twig with law,
What's it called?
Stephen Twig with Twig Law,
To a law.
yeah.
He's in Blair, right?
Fremont.
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 Well, we'll have the planning commission look at the option. And see if that's something they want to recommend to us and vote on that when we can do so. Their recommendation for that. I wish we could answer your questions faster than, as fast as you wanted to, but I'm afraid it's probably not gonna be as quick as you want to hear, so. We'll move diligently in.
The only way you can do that is if you decided that the next property would be the one you started this on,
Well,
because things aren't in place. And to me, that's a fair place to be, because you don't have things in place. You're in the process of doing it. It's like corridor protection. You can build a home wherever. I went through that until they establish corridor protection. They can be in the process of doing that, but until they get it done, you can still build there.
After the hearing today, though, we could also put a cease and desist on you renting that property out. We have not done that at that point in time. We could do that.
Uh-huh.
We could do that. So something to think about.
thank you for your time.
Thank
Hopefully
you,
we
guys.
can come to something here that we can work with.
All right.
All right, Mike, do you have anything to add? As far as item C?
Discussion C, that should only take me about 90 minutes.
Too bad we already used up that time.
The planning commission continues to talk about three things. One, we work at your discretion. So the more go work on that side as opposed to planning the world, really helps us focus. But we work again at your discretion. So if there's something, including this issue tonight, you want us to work on, we're happy to do the legwork for the board. I think that's the general consensus. I think this particular planning commission is more, has a little more energy maybe than some of the ones in the past, no disrespect. So we're happy to do.
I think it's because they have time.
In my opinion, that's the best use of the planning commission is to do some of the groundwork, legwork, mud work for the board. So that decisions like this come to you much easier. And again, I apologize for my role. I think we would also like, we discussed a little bit, so the extremes are, we don't do anything but lot lines and fences. And the other extreme is that we're sort of your economic development arm of the board. Well, those are the extremes. I think I get the sense from the board and the planning commission would like to be in the middle there somewhere. We want it to be a little bit more than fence lines and lot lines. But also we're not, I don't think we're qualified to be an economic development engine. So the more direction at some point you can give us with that, the happier everybody else will be. Last thing, some conversation about, can we get together once a year, sit around a table and sing Kumbaya or something and plan the world's future. I think the beauty of any strategic document is not just that you do it and then, okay, you put it away in the corner, you continue to work that. And to the degree that the commission can help us, that we'd be happy.
That sounds good. Yeah, let's work on an opportunity to make that happen and,
Joint session?
Yeah, we did, we,
Joint
don't
session?
we already decided to do that like a year ago at one
Did you
point?
do that last year?
Yeah, I thought we did it last year.
I don't remember when.
Last year?
Haven't done it.
No.
We
We
did.
have, well, was it last year? I know we
was that at the
did.
start of the,
That was
comp
4 years ago.
plan?
The joint session with the planning and the board.
We had talked about having a joint session. I know we did.
Last time we did that, we were in the auditorium still. And we all got
Yes.
around because we all lined one long table in a public meeting.
That's for this building.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's make plans. Let's find some way to get together and plan.
4 years ago.
All right, thank you for your time tonight.
A joint session because we.
You are welcome.
Item D, Streets Committee Report. We're happy to announce we've got some very competitive bids on our project, our street project. I think pretty easy choice, don't you? Do you have a recommendation? It seems like.
As a committee, we were just going up and down on that.
Yeah,
JEO had their recommendation in there too.
Where's their at?
Uh,
Where's their recommendation? I did not see that.
I said,
no.
Page 42.
Page 42. Thank you, Scott.
Good recommendation from Jay.
42 is not my 42. Okay.
These are coming in at almost half. Especially, I was pretty tickled there that.
And we want to do A and B. Where's that word?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay. So we want to do this.
I think so.
Okay, make a motion to accept the bid from Graham Construction for bid groups A and B and award the project in the amount of 1,636,719.75.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the acceptance of the bid from Graham Construction for the street repair project, groups A and B, in the amount of $1,636,719.75. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weasley. Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item C, discussion and possible approval of quote for compact track loader.
They're the exact same machine, obviously. Both of them, I got bids from Murphy and from Acre. The one bid from each has a 3-year warranty or a 60-month, 5-year warranty. Basically the Acre ones, but they give us a little bit more for trade-in, so.
Same warranty on both, did you say?
Same warranty, yeah. If you go with the one with the warranty. You can see on there.
Where are you at?
There it is. 113.
The Acres one with warranty was
72,550.
2680
Oh,
with the warranty. The next one.
2680.
680 with a 5-year warranty.
Yeah, that's an extended warranty you can purchase.
Yep.
That's what made it this little.
And the other bid is the same warranty at 33.
36, I believe. Let me look.
37,945.
The same warranty. No, 33. 119 is the same one. Yeah, you were correct. My recommendation would be to go with Acres if it's. But 7,000 much.
What was the Murphy bid for 37,900?
There is no, I don't, is there a Murphy that was out?
That's with the extended.
That's with the warranty. The other one was without, so it's more like 11,000.
Yeah.
With the warranty.
Should that recommendation come from the streets? Many
Sure, also move, they accept acres, bid
with the extended warranty.
with the extended warranty.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the bid for a compact track loader in the amount of, trying to find that page.
Yeah, that's, I can't.
2680.
$26,080.
There we go. Sorry, I can't find it. I got it now.
And we have a second.
Mhm.
If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney,
That's.
Jeremy Hansen,
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, discussion of possible approval of a quote for curb and gutter work on Dodge Street.
I did contact one other contractor, CRM, who's done work for us in the past. Last week I called them and they were supposed to give me another bid, and they have not. I think we're running out of-
Remember anybody worked with these guys before, this G&G?
They did all this stuff over here,
Perfect.
so,
And we were happy with that.
yeah, they did the Mark Book stuff and they did a little curb work for us over there, so yeah. I'll monitor them as they're doing it. I would suggest that we at least get the curb work done, just because it's not good over there. Scott, you can attest to that. There's some.
Yeah, a little bit in there.
And these approaches are the first two alleys on either side of Dodge.
Sides, yeah.
And there's spots of probably,
Yeah, it's probably a foot and a half deep, so. As far as the sidewalk over here, I mean, you can approve that if you'd like. That's in front of Tim Walraven's building over here with curb and gutter work there too as well. And I did explain to Tim that the city does pay for the 12 by 12 area. He's responsible for the rest of that, so he's understanding of that.
So out of the 23 by 11, he'll pay for part of that.
Yeah, whatever that is, so we pay for what?
Not to
I think
exceed.
it's $10 a foot is what he charges, so. I think he's responsible for that. I wanted to figure it, I think it was like 900 of it.
Okay.
Or 700 of it. You'd have to, what's the math on that? 12 by 12 is. What, times 10?
1440.
2,900. Minus 4, well, plus the curb and gutter. Now let's see here. 23 by 11 is what? How many square foot is that?
What does change our accepting the bid?
250s.
That's just internal work, math work, right? That's just internal. I mean, that's us telling him that he's responsible for this amount, right?
No, we're paying for that.
We're paying for the
Tree
12 by,
line.
we have to pay that 12 by 12 and Tim said,
But this is already figuring that in there, right? No.
no, it is, yes, that 12 by 12 is figured in this.
So
Why are we
it's just us.
pulling it out then?
We don't need to pull it out. We're just gonna tell him that you need to pay us that amount, or
He's responsible for whatever's left over after we pay the 12 by 12 and that 8 foot of curb and gutter on the 29.
On the sidewalk portion, not the curb and
So
gutter.
23 by 11 is what? Is what I'm asking.
253.
253. Times 10 is what?
2,530.
1,530. That's what, and we're responsible for 1,440 of that.
Why aren't we responsible for the curb and gutter?
We are responsible. for
Okay,
the curb.
all right.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I was pulling out,
You're just pulling out the 12 by.
yes,
Okay.
yes, the curb and gutter, I don't know what they charge per square foot, but I do know he charges $10 square foot.
So that amount we would pay for that estimate then would be,
So 12 by 12 is that 1,440?
he's gonna pay for the sidewalk. We're gonna pay for the part of the sidewalk where the tree was at.
So we only approve our portion, is that?
Tim would be responsible for roughly. It's 1,100,
10, 9,
12 by,
1440.
it's 12 by 12,
144.
144 times 2, 1,440, times 10, 1,440.
Yeah, yeah.
2530 minus 1440.
It's 10.
1090. So Tim would be responsible for 1090 of that, 2,900.
So we need to make a motion to approve the first bid and the second bid, mine 2,900 minus 1090.
Correct.
So the first one for 9380, we're good to go.
That's kind of right.
All right, so I'll make a motion to accept the bid for G&G Concrete in the amount of 9380 for curb, gutter and approaches
On Dodge Street.
on Dodge Street.
You got the 9,300 and the other one.
Nope, that's just this for this one. I think he's gonna get it.
This one.
Those are this one.
Separate.
Okay,
So I'll second that.
okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the estimate from G&G Concrete. The Third Street project sidewalk and gutter.
Dodge Street.
Sorry.
Gutter and approach.
I was still doing math on Dodge Street when you.
That's okay.
Or on Third.
That's why I was getting confused. I'm like, those are the department that we know
Okay.
for sure.
We have a motion and a second for 9380 on Dodge Street. Do we have any further discussion, any more confusion that we should add to that? Okay, then let's vote.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weasel.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Now on Third Street,
I'd like to accept the bid from G&G Concrete for Third Street in the amount of, you got the number for me? $1,810.
do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the bid from G&G Concrete on the Third Street sidewalk to the gutter project in the amount of $1,820 and $10. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weasel.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen. Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item E, water and sewer. James, finally we get to you. What do you have for us?
I don't know if you just want to get right into the Sixth Street main bids that are in there. I didn't get a bid from Weesey. They are too busy. They wouldn't be able to get to it till spring of next year. Trenching is just to do the main on Sixth Street. They cannot do it at night. Nobody, I said, well, I guess they could, but they're not going to do it at night because of residential. If something happens, there's nobody around to help. We don't have a bid for doing the work at night, unfortunately. So the only bid to help us with maybe not shutting down Casey's would be Thompson's bid. And so that'd be the phase 2, there'd be a water main loop from, let's see, 5th to 6th running down south of the highway. They put that in first, and then when they did the 6th Street, they could just bypass all of that with that loop. That way we're not shutting down Casey. I'm trying to give you a couple options there. If you even look at just the 6th Street, Thompson is 31,750. Henton trenching is 19,600, so that's a huge difference. I did talk to John. He said that they would come in first, do any tree work that they need to do the first day. And on the second day, they would shut it. They'd have to shut the main down for the day. It'd give us plenty of time to where we could tell Casey's, we're gonna be shut down this day. Barring nothing happens, it would just be one day. We've had to unfortunately shut them down before because of water boil notices.
Yeah.
So,
And hopefully fixing this will limit further shutdowns for them.
yeah.
And then there's a potential, if we add more business to the west, we can make a loop then. Maybe that's a good time to put a loop in. You want to make a recommendation on this?
Yeah, I'll make a recommendation to accept the bid from Hinton Trenching in the amount of $19,680 for the repair of the 6th Street water main.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to accept the bid from Hinton Trenching in the amount of $19,680 for the Sixth Street Water Main Repair Project. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hanson.
Aye.
Jason Wakefield.
Aye.
Paul Grabs.
Aye. Anybody have any other questions for James on his report?
The other thing I had for you guys, I just got one more thing. Me and John, went down to the ball fields today to look at their meter situation. It is not, compatible with our system, so we can't put a reader on it. So we either have to somehow get in there periodically to read that meter, so we know how much water they're using, or we can get a 3-inch meter, because that's what's in it from census. They run anywhere from $400 to $800, depending on who you get them from. Then we would have to have Core and Main come in and program it into our system, because it's a 3-inch. We don't have any 3 inches in our system. And then it's not 100% compatible, so we would have to also buy a whole meter that's in there right now is 12 inches. The census meter's only 8 inches, so then there would have to be some extra plumbing work. So, I mean, that's something that maybe we should.
We have access to that building. We can go in and read the meter anytime we want, don't we?
I don't have a key, but we can get in. I'm sure. I mean, I called the school today and they got me there.
I think for now, just monitoring that maybe would be the best thing to do.
Maybe we can look at it during this, I mean, hoping they're about done watering for this year. Maybe come springtime, we can every couple months go in there and read it.
Okay.
Or they can get us a key and I can get James a key, he can go down there and read it every month.
Yeah, I have no problem reading that manually. I just didn't know if you wanted it in the system. And Fred with the.
For now, let's do the easy thing and just read it manually, and then we'll figure out if it's gonna be worth the expense of. If we're not gonna bill for it, I don't know that it needs to be automatic, but. I think we're just trying to track water usage and see what's going on, so let's just monitor it.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that. As long as we know where it's at. It's the big part is understanding the usage.
Yeah. Yep. All right, anything else on your?
I did get a reading today when we were in there, so once the season's done, I'll get in there again. I know it's just a small sample size of the year, but we still have some data for this year.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we were waiting on for James?
Right.
We got those bids, yeah, we got those bids.
I'm sorry I wasn't here last meeting.
Yeah, I understand. Your team was on.
No, I didn't even know.
It's all right.
Wow. Think about that.
We all did. All right. All right, let's keep moving. Thank you for your time and your patience, James.
Thank you.
All right, item A, Mike, sorry, you guys had to sit through all the zoning discussion. Sure. Good. Thank you for your contract. I appreciate what you do to keep our numbers. I know I've been seeing everybody else's contracts going up for larger cities and county governments, so I appreciate what you do to keep things before.
Appreciate that. Well, it's benefit, as I've always told you guys, not only to you, but to us.
Yeah.
But I will caution, next year there may be a very large increase.
Yeah, I can imagine it's,
The contract negotiation with the FOP will start next year.
Yeah.
Next spring, and they're looking comparables, looking anywhere from 15% to 20% increase.
yeah. That doesn't surprise me with the numbers I've been reading in the paper for other departments, so
Difficult.
not at all.
But that's never.
No, you guys have anything?
Now, the one concern about this little faster speeds on 8th Street there, by the high school.
They've been running the traffic.
Yeah, you can only do it, you can do there. And when it's usually up there before and after school, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Another concern. That was mentioned, someone was crossing the street and had trouble or something, but
Yeah, right at the, what would that be? Bell Street and Poplar. There's a pretty good sized tree right there on the north side of Bell and Poplar where people are walking from the Poplar up north down. And then getting up to the street says people aren't really heads up, just, and that's what we could do. I'm like, I'll pass it on to the police committee and see if there's something we can do just to make sure people have their eyes in the right spot. I don't
This
know.
is right where we had the construction crosswalk.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a blind spot, but it's just a,
People aren't seeing the kids from behind the trees.
so a parent walks his daughter to school every day and says that he'll get there and he says every fourth vehicle, they don't even look up, they just blow right by. And he's just worried how long before it's a kid that comes running
That
across
is a
there.
crosswalk.
It's a crosswalk. So he was just concerned and I said I would pass it on.
You know the area we're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I know right the area, and just, I think that's something the SRO can't deal with going out there like she did when they
Yeah.
did during construction.
Other than that, I don't think I have anything. Thanks for what you guys do.
That or she coordinates a traffic person, a crosswalk person or something
From the school,
from the
maybe.
school district.
Jason, we're gonna buy you a vest and stand you up.
There you go. I like it. $35 an hour. I'm ready to go.
Jeez. I'll give up my bus license and guard truck. Anything else for Mike? Anything on your committee report? Nothing new this month? All righty. Thanks for your time, Mike. Sorry about the wait.
thank you.
Item G, Parks Committee Report. Travis and Jeremy, do you guys have anything new?
Yeah, it's a golf course.
Yeah, that's
Golf course.
How's that?
It's there.
Are people using it? Are they utilizing it?
Yeah.
I haven't
Lights out.
been down there to watch, but I've sure seen a lot of interest online and I've heard people talking about it. So
Yeah,
The newspaper's gonna do a story.
awesome.
Cool.
we,
And email them.
Are you gonna play? Are you gonna play around?
Not true, so Ian's doing a story.
I sent it to her.
They do.
There you go. You might as well be part of it at least.
do you have a set of discs for, no? I didn't realize there was that. It's just like,
Oh, there's drivers. there's
Yeah, I had no
mid-range, there's
idea.
bumpers.
Do we have a set
Well,
around here that people will check out?
we've talked about them,
I will get.
how to figure that out.
that's fun.
It's in this school.
All right. Item B, monthly library report.
The Oktoberfest is next Friday.
Next Friday?
A week from Friday?
27th,
29th, I thought.
I think.
Is that what?
Next Friday?
20. No,
Oh,
it's
so
Friday,
Saturday?
or something, it's the weekend after, right?
What did I say? I say this Friday? I said next to next.
Oh, you're right. That would be next Friday.
Yeah.
27th?
I felt like it was a farther distance.
No, no,
To Saturday
Yeah.
night?
no, I think it's.
Friday night.
It's a
Friday,
Friday night.
October
I
27th.
have a
It's
sign
Friday.
in my yard. I'm pretty sure that's what it said. I think.
Maybe they give you last year's.
It could have been, I don't know.
So one more time, what's the date of Oktoberfest for the library? October.
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest is October 27th, Friday, October 27th.
Great.
I heard there's gonna be a local band there and brews and pretzels, I thought I heard. So
Cool.
that should be
And
exciting.
Treat Street is October 21st, this Saturday.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to item 7G. Discussion about historical marker drafts from the Washington County Historical Association. C, discussion about possible approval for materials for painting exterior of the auditorium not to exceed $3,000. That's what I meant to say.
What side? What are you painting at, John?
The brick from, Oxford. We did probably about 10 years ago, but it's, so. Try at least get it peeled this year. It's weather permitting, we'll get it painted, but.
And it's peeling now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just our labor, so you've got, that's what you've got not to exceed. You don't have a bid for us to look at.
No, it's just our labor and the material.
I'll make a motion to approve. Materials for painting the exterior of auditorium to not exceed $3,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of materials for painting the exterior of the auditorium not to exceed $3,000. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Now, let's move on to item D. Discussion about historical marker drafts from the Washington County Historical Association.
So she had drawn up some things with senior center and Cheryl. And so she put in her recommendations in there and she just wanted you guys to look and see what you think and we can give her feedback and have it.
She's got a lot here. How many were we counting on putting up? Does she want us to pare this list down? Or does she just want to?
So in her, I didn't print it too, but her recommendation, I think she had narrowed it down a little bit, because like some of the stuff that we had thought of, she couldn't find necessarily a lot of info about it, so she might have done some others, or while she was doing her research, like found some other stuff that she thought was neat, so it's just kind of, I don't know what she came up with, and I said, cool, okay, good.
It's just funny, I've never noticed this till last week, but where Reed's was and above the barn, there's two peaks up there that say the Nelson Hotel, 1883. I'd never noticed that.
It's really cool.
It's old. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
significant, that if there's anything available on the, that says the Nelson Hotel, still says it up there right now.
I feel like I saw when I was in the senior center looking at stuff, something about a hotel and pictures and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know.
So do you think we can consider these and then make action next month?
Or, yeah, I just,
You need us to pare the list down tonight.
I don't think so. I mean, I was just like, we can, I mean, think about it. Just
Okay.
whatever.
I've never seen that picture before.
What is that?
Marshall House.
Oh, wow.
Dead Man's Curve right there.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
All right. Well, then, let's consider these. We'll come back next month with a recommendation, or if she needs an email recommendation.
Yeah, I mean.
Before then, let us know. We can tally everybody's email vote if she needs it before a meeting.
Yeah, why don't you guys let me know if it's like this.
Item E, discussion about possible playground designs for the city park.
She didn't get me everything that we needed to discuss that, so we'll just discuss that at the next meeting. It's no rush, and I was like, listen, it's really fine, so.
Alrighty, we'll table that till next time. Item H, cemetery committee report. Anything new going on there? Okay,
Looking at the budget, I mean, we got money left. Do we use anything yet this year?
were we gonna get
Rock
some
right now?
rocks? Is that what?
We did not, but we put it in for this next year again.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to use ours up or.
Well, it's already
Too late now.
Too late now.
Too late, you missed
We
it.
won't get her in there. All right.
Unless you got a time machine, unless you got a time machine, we're on the next year.
Yeah, all right. We're good.
All right, let's move on to item I, administrative. Anybody have any questions or concerns on the permit report? Didn't see any new houses going up. Nothing terribly exciting there. There's no further discussion. Let's move on to the clerk report. What do you have for us, Kate?
Same old, same old. I don't know, the disc golf was a big thing.
School board approved the final purchase.
Yes, the pickup is sold and gone. We got our $10,000.
Perfect.
10,053.
Perfect.
We have bid opening. Submitted the budget. Jake's been doing these online grant writing modules. He's been, I don't know, really interested in that kind of thing, so.
Good.
I've been encouraging him to
That's-
keep.
That's something we've been wanting
Yeah.
for years is
Yeah.
people in the office that know how to do that, so.
Yeah, so he's been.
So
doing online,
and
but yeah,
move forward with it.
yeah, some stuff. Talking to people.
All right, item C, discussion about possible date for employee appreciation dinner. What month did we do it last year?
We did it in November. It was, I think we had a Friday off for Veterans Day, and so we did it that Thursday night, I think. I don't know.
That'd be November 9th. Would be the Thursday night. Because Veterans Day will be observed the 10th, since the
Yeah.
11th isn't a Saturday.
Yeah.
The week of the 17th would work better for me than the week of the 10th. For me,
That will work for me.
Yeah, it's a bad weekend for me too.
wait a minute, I'm sorry, the 10th would work. I'm sorry, that works for me. 9th, 10th, what is it, Thursday
The
night?
9th would be the Thursday.
We'll be off on the 10th.
Yeah, that one works for me, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That worked for me.
The 9th works for me as of now.
9th work for everybody?
Yep.
Thursday night? You get to pick a place this year.
I don't know, where do you guys wanna go? I don't wanna pick.
What's the new hotspot? That's that Fremont downtown there. What's that called?
Italian place?
Yeah,
So.
Isn't it?
you gotta
So
book.
it's,
Oh, the one to the old J Steakhouse?
No. The one that the Guy Fury showed up to.
yeah, it's so,
I haven't been there. I heard it's good though.
there's 2 Italian places that open downtown that are really good.
Isn't it like Boston something or something and like it's
This-
and wine, what is it?
Yeah.
I know. I would bring my own pasta, fine,
You probably have.
maybe not, it's fine.
Semo pasta and wine.
Yeah.
Semo, whatever.
Call them up, find out if they have.
I'm throwing that one out there. Sorry, I'm not an employee, but
No, I don't care either.
I just thought that was somewhere different. We've always liked Wigglesworth too. I think that,
Yeah.
they always have good food.
Yeah.
And they don't charge anything for that back room. But
Just.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Library.
is that settled then? You'll pick a place? Or Woodcliff, what do we decide?
We'll figure it out.
Pick a place.
Let us know.
It'd be a surprise.
What time are we thinking on that 9th? Like 6:37? 6:30?
Six for that. Didn't we usually do 6 appetizers and eat by 6:30 or?
Works for me.
There you go. 6 P.M.
Great.
Or whenever you get there.
Okay. Travis, do we want to go into executive session tonight?
Probably for a short one to talk
We
about
have
the
some
contract.
short contract discussions that we'd like to talk about. It won't take long, but it will be an executive. session. All right, thank you, Teresa. Sorry, we couldn't settle the zoning thing.
Did we motion?
Yeah, we need a motion to go into executive session, thanks.
I'll make that motion to go into executive session at 8:38 PM.
Turn the recorders off,
We have a second.
I will second that.
or we can move into the other room, whichever you.
We have a